So, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self Development Unnecessary Interview, yeah, definitely interview, uh, intro, podcast. Um, yeah, as you can see, I'm a little small today because I kind of feel like sitting straight because every time when I do just record when I'm just my chair is, the normal height. I feel like I do just have to put my head down, and because motion create emotion, I do be like this right now, or just try to be like this. Especially because the audio quality should be also a little bit better because I'm directly speaking into the microphone. If I had a higher stand for the microphone, it would be something different, way different. But as you can see in the background, I do quite not have anything to show you right now because I'm going to search something with you. And I was just thinking about, which is actually a really dumb idea because I then just maybe waste quite a lot of time of you or for you. And therefore, I might be putting a link or just a timestamp into the description of the YouTube video and of the podcast where you can actually see where I actually, pretty much start with the book or the article or whatever. Something that I would like to do would be a biography because I kind of feel like this would be something great. I don't know if it is really the thing or not, but no, I won't do this. I will just see for something there and pick it. Blah, 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 blah. Eat that frog. I kind of feel like because I've seen it pretty much or pretty often lately that this could be a relatively good book or interesting book, whatever. Because it's some kind of related to the one thing. Therefore, it might be, okay, some kind of optional to go through it because, we have gone through the one thing, which is also a great book, but yeah. Biography, browse all book summaries. Yeah, yeah. Do you know this song? Maybe. Maybe you know it. Psychology. I think I will definitely go something through something like psychology because it is pretty interesting and it is pretty important as well. Also to really know how I could just pretty much help people to really get to their highest or the biggest energy or their passion or how to change their patterns and so on. The bad thing is I do just want to see if I can actually go to the definitive book of body language. If I can right now, I will have to go through it, and I'm pretty pretty curious. Oh no, this was the wrong link. No. So this is the right link. And I do have to see, by the way, that no, I can't. Yeah, that's never mind. 17 steps that will boost your motivation for anything by Dr. Jeremy Dean. Sounds great, could be great, could not be great. Definitely. Um, uh, I kind of feel like, okay, there could be something in it. I kind of feel like, there could not be something in it. I do therefore just want to search this. If it got a good rating and so on, and I just pretty much rely on it to see, okay, is it good? It has a 4-star rating on Goodreads, so it could be great, could not be great. Groundbreaking, fascinating investigation into the transformation effects of exercise on the brain. Okay, I will read it. Because it's some kind of about exercising, And I do feel like exercising can be a pretty great thing for your brain as well, and especially for your brain. No, especially for your body, but besides that, actually for your brain as well. Because at my fucking point of view, your body and mind are so much correlated to each other, and in such a big osmosis, not osmosis, but symbiosis, that it is incredible how much your body can affect your mind and how much your mind can affect your body. The good thing is, often you can't really control your body. Yeah, you can control your body. The best example is the power moves, not the power moves, but power positions, where I just sit here and do this and feel directly better because I just feel confident because I'm like this in this position. I've been talking about it in the last episode, but I will just cut it a little bit now as well, because if you haven't seen the last episode, you will just get some sort of the same information now. So the Harvard University it's some time ago, I think 2 years or 3 years or 4 years even, they just have kind of proven that your motion actually creates emotion. That by sitting in a certain way or standing in a certain way or behaving in a certain way actually just creates certain emotions for you. I do just have to see if the audio could be good. Yeah, so therefore, it is totally right what Tony Robbins is saying, but motion is creating emotion. And it is pretty important because you can always change your motion. You can always be standing a little bit taller or straighter instead of just like a sack of potatoes. Not a sack, I always say sack because it's sack in German. A bag of potatoes, like, really, a little crouched and, sloppy and whatever it is actually called. But I think we just go ahead with the actual book. And yeah, so it's a little bit... maybe like this. Is this good? So I think this seems to be well, because I never like it when the borders of the actual window are too near to the text. This is really not good to actually read it, then, because it feels like a little bit pressurous in terms of actually reading the text and so on. So from a design standpoint now on. But yeah, so the first thing is thinking back to one single previous bout. I don't know what's about is, but of exercise motivates people to raise their exercise levels in the future. Definitely. The second one is one of the best ways of getting going is to set yourself some if-then statements, which means that if I do this now, I will later on get this and or that. And this is actually a thing that seems to be motivating for a lot of people. And it might be actually the same thing for me as well. I do just have to think a little bit about it. I think it's most of the time unconscious for me, but if you do really just, give yourself this input consciously, this can lead to actual proper motivation or actual proper yes, I do not eat that cake because then I would just feel bad about it, or just feel bad in terms of my, I get diarrhea or something. I actually hope not you're getting it, but yeah, I think you know what I mean. And the third thing is people generate higher intrinsic motivation when they ask themselves questions. Pretty looking forward to this book. I hope there is something in it for you and for me. But let's see. So the 5 big ideas of this book are or is: try to imagine some of the consequences of not trying hard to complete your project. How will you feel if you give up? What will it mean to other people? And how much will you regret in the future? That's actually a good question. I think this is actually a question you can pretty much use to motivate yourself. Because if you're like, if I'm not doing it, then I will just feel the regret afterwards. I will just feel like I have nothing achieved in my life. All people will be disappointed. Hopefully not, because actually, what other people are thinking about your project and your business and what you're doing is actually, do not care about it. They have their life, you have your life. Everybody has their own opinions. We are all individuals. And so people just talk in terms of themselves most of the time. And so therefore just give a fuck about what they say. But if you feel just like, regretting this kind of step or this kind of project not being done by you, then you should definitely start it now, especially in such a position as you might be or I am right now. Because we all have the opportunity to be like, kind of like me, and sit there and just, record an episode of what you're kind of passionate about and what you really just want to teach people about, or, just give people a little bit value or more value about. Yeah. The second one is, psychologists have found that people will go to quite incredible lengths to protect their own self-esteem. Yeah, and I kind of know it. If it is kind of steam what I'm just thinking about right now, it's the same thing if you just say something, you say something that's kind of, how should I say? It's kind of, I don't know how I should say it, but you say something, then the other person is like, yeah, you really do this and do that, and then you suddenly say, oh no, it wasn't meant a little bit differently, and so on. You know what I mean? I think this is just what he is talking about. You just want to protect your self-esteem, yourself, how they just feel about you, and whatever. The third one is, identity changes are not just a result of increased motivation, they can also feed your motivation. The fourth one is, one important key to imagine your future self is to think of the process as a journey, and totally fall in love with the process, which is actually something that's, for me, pretty important. Because if I would really hate doing all these episodes every day, making the posts every day, writing comments every day, just hitting people up, on Quora every day, answering questions every day, then I wouldn't just, feel good about it. And even if I then just get sometimes to my real goal, or just, kind of come near to it, I pretty much feel bad about the whole process I've put into it, so that probably I won't just do it. And actually often, and this is another side of this thing, so of the process, that I say that you should fall in love with the process, is that often the process is the actual goal. Because often, and this is something that I have experienced and you have experienced maybe as well, is that the goal at the end is often just something like, I'm like there here and it is okay, but you don't feel like, yeah, this is your goal and this is what I've always wanted and whatever. You don't feel like it. You probably might feel like, yeah, the process itself was better than the end goal. What I'm doing now, what's now, I do just need another process. Because I think we just adapt to the process, and we kind of, or it's for me like this, I just adapted to the process. It's normal for me to just sit down every day making 2 or 1 episode of this, making my posts, doing this. I just, adapted to it, and it's my normal life routine right now. And the fifth and last one is, monitoring progress consistently emerges from studies as key to making progress towards a goal. Totally, and this is something that I've really been experiencing and recognizing when, or in terms of working out. Because as you might know, I do just work out 3 times a week, which is fairly a low amount. So 3 times a week with the sport I do have to do in school, which is normally just playing soccer or basketball or whatever, which is good because I then just get some kind of cardio in, which I normally wouldn't get. But the thing is, it's only 3 times a week, and I kind of feel like everybody could do this. Everybody could work out 3 times a week. This is nothing that I'd be like, yeah, it is, such a lot of work to do, and I do just, I want it, and I make myself want it totally, and I do have to work out after 11 hours of school and after 2 hours of total. I've known the word commuting. Is it commuting? Like, you drive to a place and then you go away from it. I do just have to look it up. I'm sorry. I do just make myself want it, and I do just do it. It's who I am. It's not easy, but for me it's right, and I do feel incredibly when I just have done everything in a day that I wanted to do. It's just something I knew. Yeah, I've done every single thing, and so it's good for me. When I'm not feeling that well, like in the last few days, it is okay for me to not work out sometimes. I do feel like, especially when you have been working out for several weeks or months, it's like you should actually be taking off some days or some weeks even to really just get the power back and just progress even more. Um, what I wanted to say initially is actually, I'm sorry that when you do not have an actual plan on how you should actually work out, it is some kind of strange or some kind of, it's a little bit of a bad situation you're in because you actually can't see if you're progressing or not. You might feel like, yeah, you have a bigger chest or you have a bigger triceps or biceps or whatever. But if you do not know how much reps you did the last day or how much pounds you have, I don't know, bench pressed the last day or whatever, you will never know if you have improved or not. And yeah. And in terms of a plan makes you really improve. Because if you're doing it over and over and over again, you will definitely improve at it. And sometimes you have to change up or change the plan because if you're just doing the same workout plan for 17 months, it was really challenging at the beginning, but at the end of the 17th month, everything is really easy and quite, it loses the efficiency. I feel like I'm speaking a little bit, I'm hopping around a little bit in terms of what I'm speaking. Into English, please. No, this is Spanish. Why don't I have anything in English right now? No? German, English, commute. Yes, commuting. But yeah, so we will go on with the Spark summary. And there you totally just have the 17 steps you should take to really get motivated to really get motivated. Step 1 is identify your starting point. So where you are right now. And this is incredible important if it is about exercising. I do feel like this is generally about exercising. No, not really. So in terms of exercising, it is pretty important. Because if you do not know where you are right now, you might start at a very high level that you can't control actually, or you start at a too low level where it isn't challenging for you and you do not make any progress. So identifying where you are right now, your starting point, is indeed pretty damn important. The second one is discover the change you want. So where you want to actually go in terms of exercising again. I will just make everything in terms of exercising because it's the easiest way to explain it in a fast way and so on. Discover the change you want. Do you want a big chest? Do you want to be athletic? Do you want to have nice thighs? Do you want nice quads? Do you want a nice butt? There are so many goals people want to have and people want to get that it is important to know where you want to go. The third one is identify powerful internal and external motivations. Yeah, as well, pretty important to actually see, okay, this always motivates me and that always motivates me and this person is always motivating me. The fourth one is modeling. If he actually means modeling by actually what Tony Robbins as well means, which then is really looking at people and seeing what they are doing and what they make that they are successful. So what makes them successful, to say it easy, and to really do it the same. So if there is a good marketer, you really look at him and be like, okay, what is he doing differently than me? What is he differently doing than everybody else? And then you just do the exact same thing that he is doing, what nobody else is doing, or maybe others are doing as well, but you do it in his way. And then you actually can see, okay, this is it, this is his secret, and now I will do it as well. And then you kind of would have to change it up a little bit because, only because for him it is working, in a certain way doesn't mean that it is working for you in this certain way. But if you have the knowledge of actually doing the exact same thing as he is doing or she is doing, then you actually be able to change it up a little bit and see, without just losing the effect of it. Getting started, totally important. Not just planning and not getting caught up into only planning, but also starting is very important. Self-affirmation. What is this? Affirmation. Yeah. So in terms of you making yourself wanting it or doing it, actually I could not. I feel like, I'm so tiny. I feel like so tiny. But actually, in terms of the camera, everything seems to be completely the same thing as normally. But you can definitely hear me, or hopefully hear me a little bit better. Self-affirmation, then the backup plan. This is something that's pretty interesting for me because I've been listening to a speech from Arnold Schwarzenegger actually. And he was talking about, you should never have a second plan because, if you have a second plan, you will not commit to the first plan or your plan A completely because you then just know, okay, I do have a second plan and that's okay if I mess the first one up, and I totally get it, what he means. The thing is, having a really backup plan is quite important to feel secure in what you're doing. If you're just in terms of making more money and you just, burning all the bridges and boats after you or you have, and there's no coming back, it will just give you a position or will just bring you into a position where you do just have to do it. You are just forced to make it. You're just forced to make it if you have not a backup plan. But an actual backup plan makes sense for me as well. So kind of decide for yourself if you do have a backup plan or not, and if yes, then really commit to the first plan as well, totally, so that you're not, getting caught up in what Arnold meant. Engage other people or not, it definitely comes up to who you are. If you just like to pursue your dreams and your goals with other persons because these certain persons motivate you or do you good or just are valuable towards you or for you, then do it. If you're a person who is really willing to make everything yourself, and you do not like it when people are just around you or just doing the same thing as you're doing or whatever, then don't do it. Self-compassion. Compassion. What does compassion mean? I didn't get it. I don't know. Self-compassion. You know it? Probably. I don't know what this is. Step 10, a good mood. Totally important. If you start with a bad mood, everything is fucked. Not everything, because you can just get in a good mood. But what is envy? Envy, but I know that is envy. Or envy? No, it's envy, totally envy. Envy is total shit. If you're envy in terms of another person, in terms of their accomplishments, then go out to them and just ask them what they did, because so that they actually got that, that they actually got that famous or got that important or got that good at a certain thing. Just learn out of it and not be just, envy all the time, which, doesn't make any sense. Some sort of. Where did I stop? Fear. Fear is something nobody has. And this actually reminds me and I've spoken about it in the last episode as well, something that Chris Hadfield, which is a former astronaut, he was in space 2 times and was also in actual space, so he was outside of his space shuttle as well. He's a pretty incredible person. If you don't know him and if you haven't seen anything about him, he actually makes songs as well. Please check him out. He's an incredible person. He's someone you can learn from. His TED Talks are incredible. I will just definitely invite you to look at them. And the TED Talk I've been listening or watching of him is actually the same thing that I would refer to right now, where he talks about fear. And the actual story, um, I'm now a little bit spoiling you, so you might just, skip this part for the next few seconds, so that, watching the actual TED Talk of it might not be so unnecessary. Um, but, um, but, sorry. But it was about fear, and what actually happened to him is that he went completely blind in space. So he was holding, some kind of piece of his spaceship, and he was doing some, I don't know what kind of work. Maybe he was just taking photos. Maybe he was, making any repairs. He repaired something or whatever, you know. There will always be something in a spaceship to work on or to experiment with or whatever. The actual thing that happened was that there was some kind of fluid into his left eye first of all, and then it suddenly just shut down, and then the other eye shut down as well, and but nothing happened. So he just got into the spaceship as well, and his other colleagues just helped him, and nothing happened to his eye, and nothing to him. But what he afterwards said is just the complete truth, and he was asking the audience if they hate spiders, and a lot of people just hate spiders because they just seem to be scary. But he actually then said in Australia, I think only one, or actually in this certain location he was, actually only one spider was poisonous or venomous. And this actual one spider is actually not as venomous as you get a pretty nice bite of her or of it, and it will just fuck your leg or fuck this certain point definitely, and you will get just a really awful wound there. But it was actually the spider with the red sign on the back, so I do not remember what it was called. But the thing is, he said that there is only one spider that you should be fearing. At the end, I didn't really know why he just pointed out this one, but yeah. So actually, there isn't a lot to fear about. This might be the point of it. But what he was also saying is that if you're afraid of spiders, then you should definitely go through every spider web there is in your entire room, in your entire area. Everywhere you see a spider web, you just go through it, and someday you won't be afraid of spiders anymore or webs anymore, because first of all, that just a very small percentage of spiders are actually poisonous or venomous, and so all the others just are feared of you more than you're feared of them. And if you just go through every single spider web there is, you will just adapt to it, and you will feel like, okay, this is just a spider web, it's okay. And it's totally the truth, because there's nothing to fear about, and it could always be worse. This is something that I could give to this thought, but actually it's the truth with quite everything. If you just are feared of maybe speaking to a certain person or speaking to people in public, just do it more often. It seems to be pretty obvious and pretty like, this is a shitty advice, man, but it's the truth, and I think it is the truth, because he also pointed out that they just trained every single thing that could happen in space training before he went to space. So he was used to getting blind, maybe not blind because they might haven't thought about it, but disorientation. Definitely, they have definitely practiced this one, and they were even underwater, and there was such a lot of things happening, and they just trained such a lot that this was nothing to fear about. It was just normal for him. It was okay, because he had done it so often just before. Anger is something that's the 13th point, and it could be something pretty bad for you, and it could be also something motivating for you. Because is it about motivating? I'm so sorry if I just asked this. I don't know. Okay, but these are just the steps. So there might be any anger, but you can use anger as a motivation. And anger is something that, might appear. And this kind of reminds me on what Tony Robbins is always doing when he kind of feels like angry or disappointed or envy or whatever he's feeling. He always takes himself 90 seconds to calm down, and afterwards he says himself, okay, if I'm feared, what should I fear about? If I'm angry, why am I angry? This is just complete waste of energy. Why I'm complaining, this is also a complete waste of energy. And all these things until he calms down, and then he's just calm again, and he just can make proper decisions again. This is important because it is always like, you can be in a very good mood or in a very bad mood, but on either the extreme, both sides are pretty bad to be at, because if you then have to make decisions, you either make a really too good decision, in quotation marks please, or a really bad decision because you're so bad or good mooded. Avoid self-handicapping. Seems obvious, but I think to just, have it in your mind is also good, or always good. Finding your individual motivation, always important. The journey towards a new identity, and the review, which is the last step. So one popular model of change used by a psychologist has 5 different phases. The first one is the pre-contemplation. You are not even considering making any changes, totally, but if you should, or I think this is just some kind of a state of mind that you actually know, you didn't want to make any changes. I think it's just, you know it for yourself. The second one is contemplation. You are at least considering a change. Yeah. The third one is determination. Your plans for action are coming along, but you haven't put them into action yet. Okay, action. You're already part way through making a change. And the fifth one is the maintenance, which then would some kind of be a habit, at my point of view. You're trying to make the change permanent. So ask yourself, what would the advantage and disadvantages of making this change would be? At the heart of intrinsic motivation lie 3 factors, according to Professor Richard Ryan and Edward Deci, or Dickey, or whatever, it's DECI, the theory's authors. Yes. So the first one is competence. I do just have to see, because I'm so low and it is such an incredible different position that I kind of feel like, okay, it's not good, but everything is okay. So the first one is competence. One of the 3 factors, competence. We want to be good at something, but it needs to be something we find just hard enough. Things that are too easy don't give us a sense of competence. The second one is autonomy. We want to be free and dislike being controlled. When people have some freedom, even within certain non-negotiable boundaries, they are more likely to thrive. And the third one is relateness. As social animals, we want to feel connected to other people. Definitely. So when we see someone take a particular series of action and achieve the desired goal, it gives us hope we can do the same. Matthew Seid also touches upon motivation by association in Bounds. This is actually modeling what I was just talking about before, what Tony Robbins his whole life was doing quite. So he was always like, looking at really successful people in different areas and just did the same thing as they were doing, practically. Modeling can give us hope that we can learn as long as we choose someone who is similar enough to ourselves. Studies have shown that just thinking back to one single previous bout of exercise motivates people to raise their exercise levels in the future. What's a bout? It's something like a fight. It is a fight. But it doesn't make any sense if I say it's a fight. No, nevertheless. Anyways, sorry. One of the best ways of getting going is to set yourself some if-then statements. Yeah, turning a self-affirmation into a question is better than simply using a statement. Statement research reveals. This study is also referred in to Cell is Human by Dan H. Pink. So turning a self-affirmation into a question is better than simply using a statement. Okay. I do self-affirmation. Okay. Statement. Please do not. Okay. So turning a self-affirmation into a question is better than simply using a statement. Okay, I just try to understand it, but it's not happening yet. People generate higher intrinsic motivation when they ask themselves questions. See Quality Questions in Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. Backup plans can actually help feed our motivation for our main plan. What feeds our motivation is knowing that we have a good chance of achieving the goal. Totally. So therefore, and this is something that Tony Robbins was telling me or was telling in an interview, it is always great. I just would invite you to really go through all, interviews you can find of Tony Robbins. It is just incredible how much knowledge he has and what he's talking about. And then you just can see that he's talking about the same things over and over again, sometimes, so not all the time, but certain parts just appear always, which is totally okay, it's just he deeply believes in them, and so he wants to give them to everybody. But he was saying that the actual thing is that success is 20% of skill and 80% of mindset. And this is quite the same thing as Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People said, is that being successful is 80% being able to deal with human beings and 20% actually being skillful in your area. Totally, because if you can't work with humans, you could be the best person in the whole world doing it, but no one would like to do business with you because you're a fucking asshole. It makes sense. If you're just the really best one, they just might be like, okay, I will just take it that you're just a fucking asshole, but I know that I will make good business with you. Under experimental conditions, it is the people with backup plans that have more motivation for their task. Okay, so the experiments do reveal one twist in the tale, though. As people get close to their goal, creating backup plans starts to demotivate them. Yeah, because they kind of maybe feel like they're so close, but they just kind of feel like, okay, they doubt a little bit themselves that, maybe I'm not able to do it, it's quite hard, and so on. So this stupid shit. One study of joining online social networks has even found that these can be beneficial in pumping up motivation. If you follow me, yes, of course. No, just joking. But definitely. If you just, at my point of view, we really have the opportunity in this social network age and this age where we just have the opportunity to surround ourselves with the people we want to. We have an incredible advantage others hadn't. We have all the advantage to really surround ourselves with people we admire, people who are just really knowledgeable in a certain way, people we just see as our mentors. We have the opportunity. You can just watch Tony Robbins interviews over and over and over again until you really get everything he was saying. You can watch every episode of Gary Vee's content. You can, just surround yourself with these certain persons. And then you just, this is just, for me, kind of the same thing as you would just surround yourself with real people. Because you kind of, adopt their thinking, adopt their values and their goals and just themselves, pretty much, at my point of view at least. So here are 3 psychological strategies you might use to deal with despair. What's despair? Despair. Ah, yeah. This might come up, definitely. Self-esteem boost. Think about positive aspects of the self to boost confidence. Positive distraction. Think back to nice memories from the problem. And self-compassion. Think about the self Think about the self with kindness and compassion, seeing the period of low self confidence in context without evaluating or judging it. I see it. Is practically, if I get it right, um, setting yourself in perspective. So actually showing you, okay, it was worse back then, or it has been worse before. So everything is good right now, and everything is okay right now, and just move on, motherfucker. I'm actually thinking about if I should actually make the podcast episodes explicit and not clean, because there's actually an option in Anchor where you just have to tick it, and I've always been like, okay, I didn't really know what it meant until I came to the conclusion, okay, it has to be explicit, so therefore you're just saying things that normal people or just young people shouldn't hear. But I think not. I think it's totally okay with me. I think swearing is not a thing like this. I hope. People who practice self-compassion find it easier to see the possibilities for change. Definitely. So think about the self with kindness and compassion, seeing the period of low self-confidence in context. Yeah, for me, I feel like it's just perspective, and it's just it makes sense that you are then able to see change or possibilities to change even more, because you're just used to change, and okay, everything was bad back then or worse back then, and now everything is okay. um, Increase the motivation to change, definitely. Take steps towards making a change, yeah, because you have once did it unconsciously maybe. And the fourth one is compare themselves with those doing better to help motivate their change. Something I do not know. Comparing to others is always a thing. It could be good, it could be bad. It comes up to you, I think. It's only a little bit in it right now. I don't know. I probably will just leave it for the next episode. I'm actually pretty sorry that I can't go through the definite book of body language anymore. I hope that I can just redo it once I see that everything is working again and I have actual access to this website again. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, whatever. I hope you're so ultimate happy, and I hope you get the success in, the health in, the wealth in. And so success, health, wealth, being happy, giving something back, please give something back, and legacy. For me, these are the five. Are there actually five? Success, health, wealth, giving back, happiness, legacy. Actually, six things I kind of stand for, and I kind of want to, achieve or want to have. And with this being said, I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful midnight, a wonderful noon, whatever. Thank you for being with me. I deeply have to thank you because, everything is going well. Everything is okay. So thank you. And I'll see you the next time.